And good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the Daytona International Speedway, where we are getting ready for Daytona 500 pole qualifying from the World Center of Racing here at Daytona International Speedway. It has been a very, very busy speed week so far. We have had the Rolex 24, which just recently wrapped up. We also have had the NOS with the New Era Cup Series and also the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. They're going to be here very soon. We also have had NIRA with their M&M's Truck Series season kicking off here at Daytona. We've had a lot happen here at Daytona, and we're about to have a little bit more happen here. Last night we had the Wendy Shootout. Emmanuel Hartnett took the win from that in that race. So congratulations to Emmanuel Hartnett on getting the season unofficially kicked off with a victory. And we are getting ready for Daytona 500 pole qualifying. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's how this will work. We have two groups of 26 cars. So there are 52 cars total that are signed up to compete for this event. And the first car you see here is the number 4 that's driven by Stephen Colon. So do ignore that there is Alyssa Leonard on the back end, on the back windshield of the car. But here's how this will work, ladies and gentlemen. The fastest 6 cars from each group will be in the final round, and those 12 drivers will battle it out in a 5-minute qualifying session, knockout qualifying session, to determine who will be on the front row for the Daytona 500. In the process, we will also be checking to see which driver that is in the that must race their way into the 500. Take Johnny Gardner, for instance, to see if they're going to make it in via their qualifying speed. If they are the fastest, if Johnny Gardner, for instance, is the fastest out of all of them in his respected group, then he will lock himself into the Daytona 500. As for everybody else that is slower than him, they will have to race their way into the Daytona 500. So Johnny Gardner in the number 7 for first place Motorsports. No sponsors on that number 7 team. Johnny Gardner would definitely love to get that team some sponsorship as the season goes on. Just in front of them is Josiah Munsell in the number 14. Kiss jumping on board. And it is their farewell tour. It is their end of the road tour. So they're still currently going on with that as we speak. And Josiah Munsell supporting Kiss on their end of the road tour. Derek Hamill and also his teammate Robert McDowell, 11 and 15. Both brand new to the WRLA with Hamill racing on board in the WRLA. Annie Thomas driving the number 23. Now do ignore that she still has the Monster Energy logo on her windshield, and also the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series logo on the sides of the car. Apparently she's trying to compete with us with Monster Energy. No, I'm kidding. But Annie Thomas driving the Velveeta Ford Fusion for the Daytona 500. Then there's Eric Scott, another one of Derek Hamill's cars, driving the number 01 Liberty University Toyota Camry. Then there's a 3-car train over here. There's Christian Russell in the 35, Emmanuel Hartnett in the number 20, and Jack Lagasse in the number 38. 3-car trains so far have been the fastest. 46.804 right now for Jack Lagasse. Then you have Emmanuel Hartnett, 8:57, and then 6/1000ths of a second behind him is number 35 of Christian Russell. The driver on the bubble and on the cusp of, making the final round, moving on to the final round, is the number 26 of Daniel Voiles. And there's Haley Walker driving the number 25 Home Depot Chevy Camaro for Walker Family Motorsports. Nice looking paint scheme. This used to be Grattan Motorsports before Stewart pulled out, and Walker Family Motorsports ended up buying the team, and from there on, and they haven't looked back ever since as far as changing up the manufacturers and bringing in different sponsors. So this might be a very good season here for Walker Family Motorsports in their first outing, their first and only outing in the WRLA. There's Madison's Hall in the number 6, and that GoDaddy Chevrolet. NS Racing is going to have a 4-car effort to try to get into the Daytona 500. You have Nathan Stapleton and Zachary Fitzwater are already locked into the 500, so they have nothing to lose. But as far as Madison Tull, Travis Crampton, you have Madison Tull here in the number 6, and then Travis Crampton is in the next round. He's going to be driving a number 98. So, if those two drivers are successful in trying to get into the Daytona 500, then all 4 NS Racing cars will be in the Great American Race. So as far as the drivers that are in the must race their way in category, the driver that currently holds on to that spot is indeed Madison Tull, speaking of. And she's just got put up on the top side, but that could very well benefit her if she can fall back and get behind somebody like Haley Walker, for instance, or try to fall into the tail end of the line here and get behind Alex Bonsior in the number 22, and looks like that's going to be the case, and she might be able to get a pretty good lap time. So, just like Daniel Voles, for instance, he laid down a 46.312. There he is in the Wells Fargo Ford Fusion, right behind Sebastian Kukulon in the number 1 for Nathan Orman Motorsports. I see Joshua Hyatt in the number 3, supporting the Bass Pro Shops colors. A graduate to the Cup Series. Special thanks to William Brock with the now newly named Full Frontal Motorsports team. Right behind him is Cody Smart in the number 2. His only win on his resume is only at Pocono. And he only had a 1-car team, so now this time he has a 2-car team. You caught a glimpse of Eli Bright's number 12 Target Ford Fusion. He competed on a limited schedule for the WRLA when he was driving for Bright Motorsports, but now he is on a full-time campaign, so now he will be considered a rookie here for this year's WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series season. There's Michael DeFeo in the number 10 in the Twitter Toyota Camry for Long Island Motorsports. Former sponsor used to be Hot Wheels, but Michael DeFeo ran into a lot of legal trouble back in 2017. Did a lot of things that were against the rule book, which is no longer a thing. But now he's back and he's ready to go and try to make a few races here in the WRLA. Right in front of him, there's Henry Williams in the number 31, another graduate to the NOS Energy Cup Series. Also special thanks to William Brock. Williams driving the number 31 Valvoline Chevrolet for Full Frontal Motorsports. And I have to say, that scheme actually still looks very, very awesome. It looks very awesome. I still can't get over that scheme. Derek Edison in the number 32, currently 9th quickest right now with a 46.570. All-American Motorsports team owner Trey Wright is here in the NOS Energy Cup Series. He's not driving, but he is watching his 3 cars take to the track here. And all three drivers really don't have anything to lose. So there's Al Lagasse in the number 34 in the Twisted T colors for this race. So, as I said, they don't have anything to lose at all, so they can just go and they can qualify, try to see if they can get in the top 6, try to battle for the pole in the front row for the Daytona 500. There's Nathan Orman in the number 24, owner of his own team, Nathan Orman Motorsports, in the Autism Speaks Chevy Camaro, car number 24. He also has Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is also going to be on the hood of his machine for a few races. And hey, just speaking of, it's the Coke and Pepsi wars, because you have Nathan Orman, sponsored by Coca-Cola, on the quarter panels of his machine, and you have Stephen Colon in the Pepsi car right in front of him. So you could definitely say this is the Coke and Pepsi wars. And right now, Nathan Orman is inside of the top 5. The driver holding on to the final transfer spot to get into the final round is indeed Haley Walker. And look at this. You have all 3 of the Hamill Racing machine, Derek Hamill Enterprise machines. They're all working together. And Derek Hamill himself, in the number 15, is on the outside looking in. I'm trying to get into the final round. These drivers only have about 5 more minutes to try to get into that final round. And the driver holding on to the transfer spot to lock himself into the Daytona 500 is the number 10 of Michael DeFeo. Oh, excuse me, I stand corrected. It's actually Josiah Munsell in the number 14. Just barely catching a glimpse of this draft off the other 3 Toyota drivers. And Munsell, if he can hold on for these next 4.5 minutes, he will definitely lock himself into the Daytona 500 via qualifying speed. Everybody else behind him on the scoreboard will have to race their way in. So Michael DeFeo will have to race his way in. You also throw in the number 05 of Osman Hamid in the number 05 for this season. Also along with him would be Johnny Gardner and Madison Tall, who currently are not faring too well here in this session. Johnny Gardner with a 46.849. Madison Tall a full 1/10 of a second faster. There's Audra Baranowskis in the number 29. Another graduate to the Cup Series. Also special thanks to William Brock in Full Frontal Motorsports. She's going to be driving in the number 29 Delta. I think Delta. Let's see. Yeah, the Delta Airlines Chevy Camaro. And right now on the board, she is 22nd on the charts, 46.698. Driver holding on to the final transfer spot is Nathan Orman. Haley Walker on the outside looking in. Sebastian Kukulon coming back up onto the racetrack. And oh, Haley Walker, very close call for her. I thought she was going to get into Kukulon. If that's the case, she would have been to a backup car. Now the thing is, with as far as the policy goes for the backup car, if you get moved to a backup car, you don't even lose your position. You don't even have to go to the back. It doesn't matter here in the WRLA. If you crash and go to a backup car, you can still keep your starting position. 2.5 minutes remaining, and there's the number 22 of Alex Bonsignor. If you remember back to 2017, he finished second in the Canadian 500. He was leading with just a handful of laps to go, only to be passed by Alex Hawkins with just 2 to go, coming to the white flag. And I think that's the driver that that is not on the racetrack. So that is Alex Hawkins. Man, that's okay. So Alex Hawkins is not on the racetrack, and that's okay. So that was the guy who was missing. Oh man, that's on me. I do apologize. Oh my gosh. But it's okay, because it doesn't matter anyway, because he's locked into the 500 no matter what, and he doesn't have to qualify. Whether if he qualifies or not, he is locked into the Daytona 500. And nevertheless, he will be able to fight for a good starting spot in the Daytona 500 as well. So that's on me, and I do apologize. That is, I was thinking, man, there's an odd amount of cars, so I took one out, and there's 52, and now I know who is the driver that I was missing. It's like, who am I missing? But now I know. Hey, it's all right. At least it's a driver that is already locked into the 500 anyway. So it's okay. In a way, it's all good. But nevertheless, less than a minute to go here at Daytona for Group 1, for the first group of cars here. And it's still Daniel Voiles in command. He's definitely going to be able to make it in. If with that 46.312, that should be pretty solid enough to get him into the final round. Same goes for Joshua Hyatt, also Josiah Munsell, Derek Hamill, Derek Edison, and also Madison Tall has also gotten into the top 6. Let's see where she is. There she is, right behind Henry Williams. There's also Carter Friesen in the 02. Also another Smart Motorsports driver. And Madison Tall going to call it a day at least for now, coming down to pit road. 45 more seconds have been added onto the clock. And, oh wow, it is a tie between Madison's Hall and the number 01 of Eric Scott for that final transfer spot. And Maddie breaks that tie, I think by a few one millionths of a second. Wow, okay. Okay, that's interesting. So if things hold up in these next 15 seconds, then we know the top 6 drivers that will be moving on to the final round. And it looks like that's going to be the case here. That is definitely going to be the case. So, the drivers that will be moving on to the final round are the number 6 of Daniel Voiles, Joshua Hyatt, Josiah Munsell, the number 15 of Derek Hamill, Derek Edison, and Madison's Hall will be the first 6 cars to move on to the final round here in Daytona 500 pole qualifying. In another second, the times will be official, and there it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, do not go away. We will be right back for
drivers to your car.
Thank you, official. I greatly appreciate that. But we will be right back for the second group, for group number 2 to come out, and they will be taking laps on the racetrack to see who will join the first 6 cars to be in the fight for the Daytona 500 front row next. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We will be getting ready for group number 2, still in round number 1. And the first car that will be heading out onto the racetrack is the number 52 of Andrew Ramsey. Same rules apply. The top 6 in this group will be moving on and joining the top 6 from group 1 in the final round of the Daytona 500 pole qualifying. There's Andrew Ramsey in the number 52 for Andrew Ramsey Motorsports. This is Ramsey's first season in WRLA, and he'll be competing on a part-time schedule. And also currently in college as we speak. Taking a few courses over there. But nevertheless, he's right here in Daytona Beach, Florida, and he's going to try to qualify for the Daytona 500. So this is going to be very interesting for Andrew Ramsey here, because he is one of those drivers that must race his way into the Daytona 500. And if he can do that, he will be able to join Josiah Munsell as a driver that can say that he has locked himself into the Great American Race. So, see some other cars coming out onto the racetrack here. Let's see if we can get it. There's Jesse Turner to the number 43. He is going to be a rookie here in the WRLA NOS Energy Cup Series. He also competed in the McDonald's Series back in 2017, driving the number 43 Ford Mustang in the Richard Petty Motorsports entry. But now he is here for Turner Motorsports, his own team, as a rookie. And right behind him is Zachary Taylor in the number 85. If you remember back to 2017, which was AKA done back in 2016, he is a Pensacola 600 winner for the PCSRA Foster Series. Remember, if you remember that far back, that's what he is. He's a winner of the Pensacola 600. Can he add a Daytona 500 to his resume? Right behind him is the EGI cars of Elijah Gordon in the number 77 and the number 87. That is Joshua Cornish. Both of them have definitely been having a good time back in Michigan and the churches they go to. So they definitely know each other very, very well. And both teammates here in the NOS Energy Cup Series, and that's been the same case back in 2017. But now they're definitely focused and ready for 2020. Fastest driver on the board right now is the number 93 of Kyle Langland. But now it's Zachary Taylor with a 46.967. And there's the number 81. That is Mark Grant in the Bass Pro Shops Toyota. Just underneath him is the number 51. There's another driver that has to race her way into the Daytona 500. This is the sister to Emily Anderson. This is Trinity Anderson. Trinity for the merger of EGI and Smart Motorsports, both coming together here for this season, with sponsorship being supplied by EGI and the manufacturers being supplied by Smart Motorsports. And together they make Gordon Smart Motorsports. So Trinity Anderson going to be attempting every race. And this should be very interesting to see what she's going to be able to do here this season. And there's the number 93 of Kyle Langland in the Jimmy John's Ford Fusion. Langland currently holding on to the top 6 at the moment. But then again, remember, it is early here in this session. So that is definitely going to change here in a hurry. There's the number 84 of Noah Clifton. And Noah Clifton for his own team, Clifton Motorsports, going to be a rookie this season. And I do apologize if there's no rookie stripes on the car, because there are some cars that have still yet to be updated. And probably after the Daytona 5, probably once we get around to the Daytona 500, the cars will be successfully updated. At least that's what I hope. Right behind him is the number 61 of Marty Johnson. He competed in last night's Wendy Shootout. Back in 2017, he won at Las Vegas. And did it from, I believe, mid-pack. And I believe he started mid-pack in that race, and he worked his way up to the front and didn't look back from there, and ended up winning the race on a dominant margin over his own teammate, Luke Knight, I would assume. I believe, yeah, Luke Knight. There's Chloe Erickson in the number 46 machine. This is the NOS Energy Motorsports entry. Chloe is another driver that must race her way into the Daytona 500. And if she is successful in doing that, both NOS Energy Motorsports cars will be in the 500. There's Betty Johnson in the number 83 Snickers Ford Fusion. She has nothing to lose. She can just try her very best to try to get in to the top 6, but so far she has not had any luck in doing that at all. Not even trying to find a dance partner. She is 24th on the charts with a 48.066. So far things not faring too well for her, neither for Quentin Moore. But the best part for him is he's going to have a few dancing partners coming up here very quickly. And the first one that is going to catch him is the number 62 of William Brock. Now, both William Brock and Quentin Moore used to be teammates back when William Brock had his own team, William Brock Motorsports, but now changed the team to Full Frontal Motorsports. And Q-Man has made his own team with Q-Man Motorsports. And William Brock has increased to a 4-car operation. 3 of his cars were in the previous group. But now William Brock has to go it alone here in this group. There's Nathan Stapleton in the number 97. And Stapleton moves from a Ford team to a Chevy team. And has a lot more sponsorship as well, with Advanced Auto Parts, Powerade, and a little bit of a partnership with Monster Energy and Credit One Bank. Monster Energy will be on the hood for select races. And Powerade will, as you saw in last night's race, will be on the hood as well. Not at the same time as Monster Energy, though, but you kind of get the point. There's the number 64 being piloted by, I believe, Evan Hunter. That is correct. Evan Hunter, in his first season in the NOS Energy Cup Series, driving for First Place Motorsports. Currently 12th on the charts, 46.432. And it will be very interesting to see what Evan Hunter is going to do behind the wheel of the number 64. For First Place Motorsports. There's Alita Perez in the number 71. I believe back in 2017, she definitely had a very good showing in the NOS Energy Cup Series in a full-time slate. But now she is going to be just attempting the Daytona 500 for Determination Racing. The single-car operation. L'Oreal is on board for this team, as well as Snickers. And I believe there's a third sponsor on that car. Yes, NOS way down behind in front of the left rear wheel, and she's getting a little bit of help from Veronica Platz in the number 78 for Danielle Whittle, or no, Danielle from Danielle Witter's team. And Veronica Platz is 21st on the charts with a 46.813. So as far as Veronica Platz and Alita Perez go, they're definitely in a position to where they're going to have to race their way into the 500, except for one that is Hannah Higdon driving the number 99, and Travis Crampton in the number 98 in the Performance Plus motor oil car. He was just getting up to speed and unfortunately slowed down Andrew Ramsey and the number 47 of Daniel Bouchard. All three of those cars have to race their way into the Daytona 500 as of right now. But for Travis Crampton, he is 23rd on the charts, 46.830. His teammate Madison Tall, she still has to race her way into the 500, but however, at the same time, she's going to be battling for the pole in the Daytona 500, so that's going to be in and of itself interesting. If she wins the pole, who knows? She might lock herself into the 500. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens here once we move into the final round. And we have less than 5 minutes to go here. There's the number 48 being piloted by, oh, this is Osman Hamid. My bad. So I think the 05... Shoot, I forgot who was driving the 05. Let me see here. Yeah, that is my mistake, ladies and gentlemen. So Osman Hamid is in the number 48 and driving the number 05. I don't have it. Oh, crap. That's all right. So that was my mistake, ladies and gentlemen. That was definitely my mistake. This is number 92 of Caleb Hoffman. We're going to be driving on a limited schedule, and we will be attempting all the races in the 2020 season of the NOS Energy Cup Series. Currently, as we speak, he is 13th quickest with a 46.358. Not a 13 second lap. That's impossible to do here at Daytona, unless if you have hacks. But anyways, right behind him is the number 99 of Hannah Higdon for Higdon Family Motorsports, and she is on top of the charts with a 46.050. If she is able to hold on to that, she will lock herself into the 500 and move on to the final round to battle for the pole in the Daytona 500. So that will mean there would be a 1/3 chance that a driver that must race his or her way into the 500 will win the pole for the 500. But as far as Hannah Higdon goes, if her time holds up, she'll lock herself into the 500, and if she can win the pole, that would be just as amazing. Right behind, let me see here. I think I went through all the drivers in this group. Indeed, I have. There's Ryan Gundillo in the number 58. It's very unusual to see Ryan Gundillo drive a number 58 instead of a number 59, but Zachary Fitzwater and Ryan Gundillo have mutually agreed to have Gundillo trade the number 59 to Zachary Fitzwater, and Ryan Gundillo would drive a number 58 for this season. So Gundillo for this season driving the number 58, and speaking of the 59, there he is, Zachary Fitzwater, one of the best drivers in the NR community. Now I'm not gonna say that he is the god of NR 2003, but I will say that he is one of the best. Not going to take that away from him. So Zachary Fitzwater, driving the number 59, currently is 22nd on the charts with a 46.664. And right now, he doesn't. The best part for him is he is one of those drivers that's going to be competing for the title, so he really doesn't have a whole lot to lose. So he can just go about this qualifying session, just learn as you go, and once it comes to the duels, just get ready for your duel and go from there. So now, coming around through turn 4. And I remember Zachary Fitzwater used to be a part of Hudson Hartnett Racing. He drove the number 44 that season. Didn't win a race for that team, but now Emmanuel Hartnett has broken, and ever since Nathan Hudson left the WRLA, Emmanuel Hartnett has been able to bring Fire Ice Racing into the WRLA and switch to manufacturers from Chevy to Toyota. And Zachary Fitzwater was left without a ride, and NS Racing picked him up. So now Zachary Fitzwater is here in the number 59. There's Emily Anderson in the number 66. In the Haas Automation Chevrolet, she is a winner in the NOS Energy Cup Series. She won at Texas, and she would definitely love to add some more wins to her resume for the 2020 season. This would definitely be a very huge confidence booster for her if she were able to win a few races on the circuit. And they are closing in on her sister, Trinity Anderson, who currently is all alone. Coming around, 15 seconds remaining. And they're going to be able to add some more time here in the, if I can actually say it, an additional 45 seconds to the clock. And it looks like that's going to be the case. 45 seconds have been added. So these drivers have enough time to add one more lap. And Marty Johnson has gone to the top with a 45.933. He is the first driver to break into the 45-second bracket today. And if he holds on, which will be the case, he will lock himself into the Daytona 500. And if he wins the pole, doesn't make a difference. He is still locked into the 500. And that would be a huge confidence booster for him as well. And the times have been finalized. So the 6 drivers that will be joining the first 6 cars from Group 1, Marty Johnson, who has locked himself into the Daytona 500. Then Hannah Higdon, Elijah Gordon, the number 43 of Jesse Turner, Evan Hunter, and Betty Johnson will be moving on into the final round. This is going to be interesting. And for the final round, it's going to be 5 minutes. So those drivers will not have a whole lot of time to put down a very good lap time. So they're going to have to get out there as quickly as possible, whether it be a single car run, but most preferably you want to have a partner with you, so then that way you can get yourself a really good time that would be pretty difficult to knock off with just a handful of minutes remaining. But nevertheless, we now know the 12 drivers that will be battling for the pole for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, coming up this Sunday. But before we get there, we got to figure out the front row for the 500. So when we come back, we will have 5 minutes to figure out who will be on the front row for the 2020 edition of the Daytona 500. We're back here, ladies and gentlemen, and the clock has already started. We are down to 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining on the clock. And the drivers that have locked themselves into the Daytona 500, Marty Johnson in the 61, he's coming out onto the racetrack. And also the 14 of Josiah Munsell, they are among this group that will be battling for the pole in the Daytona 500. So for those 2 drivers, if they win the pole, they're not going to be taking up any other spot that will be taking up a second spot that would be available in the duels coming up this Thursday night. But nevertheless, it would give them a huge confidence booster if they won the pole for the Great American Race. So far, Toyota has occupied both of the other 2 spots that were available here in this knockout qualifying session. So for Marty Johnson, he doesn't have anything to lose at this point. He can just try to get himself a really, really good starting spot for the duels. And if he can do that, that would be big, big news for him. 3.5 minutes remaining. Jesse Turner is coming out onto the racetrack. Same for Hannah Higdon in the 99. So this round, if she were to win the pole, I believe she would end up getting another spot. End up locking yourself into the 500. That is if you win the pole. Then again, there's still also a good chance where she may not win the pole for the 500, but she may also have potentially have a dancing partner, Jesse Turner. But the problem is actually, Jesse Turner is quite a ways away. Evan Hunter coming out on the racetrack. Madison Tull is already out on track. Daniel Voiles is on track. Derek Edison and Betty Johnson are actually pretty close together. So if those two can actually stick together, they might be able to earn the front row for the 500. Let's just see what happens here. Marty Johnson, 48,582 for the number 61 machine. So we're just going to keep our eyes here on these two cars. They're just getting up to speed. And they're coming to take the green flag, and they're coming to take, not the green flag, but they're coming to start their lap time. And oh boy, Madison Tull, now 48,516. Daniel Voiles, a 48,530. Marty Johnson at 48,084. Minute 45 remaining. Josiah Munsell, Jesse Turner putting their times on the board now. Turner, 48,467. Hannah Higdon, 48,617. Josiah Munsell, I believe, is coming around to complete his lap now. Johnson and Derek Edison, side by side. I think they're trading spots here. Not really what you should do here in a situation like this. But let's see what their time is going to be at the line. 47,480 for Betty Johnson and a 47,650 for Derek Edison. Oh my, this actually would be pretty big if those two sat on the front row for the 500. There's Elijah Gordon now way out ahead of these two, and he is about to put down his lap time. But nevertheless, the two drivers on the front row at this moment, currently with just now 35 seconds remaining right now, Madison Tull, 47,240. I believe she has found herself a dancing partner. And Evan Hunter just barely catching a draft off of that 64. Derek Edison to the top with a 46,980. Now Elijah Gordon is in this mix, just almost getting turned by Derek Edison. So if Gordon can actually get behind these drivers, he might actually have himself a good shot at getting himself maybe on the front row for this race. Well, let's just see what happens here. 45 seconds have been added. Joshua Hyatt jumps up to third with a 47,215. This is going to be big, ladies and gentlemen. 30 seconds on the clock. Let's see what Gordon's lap time is going to be at the stripe. It is a 47,632. It's jumped up to 7th on the charts in car number 77. But that's not going to be enough. Madison Tull has just jumped up to a 46,783. Jesse Turner with a 46,931. And that's going to do it. Madison Tull has won the pole for the Daytona 500. Are you serious right now? Madison Tull has won the pole for the Daytona 500. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that if she wins the pole, she is locked in. Locked in to the Great American Race. Wow. Okay, I was not expecting that at all, but Madison Tull has done it. She has
Drivers,
won the
to
pole
your car.
for the Daytona 500, and she will lock herself into the race, which means in duel number 2, there will only be one spot available. Just one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be that is going to be the duel to watch. Duel number 2 will be the duel to watch because of that one spot that will be available, and those drivers are going to be duking it out, going hardcore to get that spot. It is going to be one interesting event coming up for the duels this Thursday night, and that's going to be exciting, and that's going to be fun, and it's also going to be interesting all at one time. And we hope you guys can tune in this Thursday at about 5, maybe 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I believe I put 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the duels. So either or, 5 or 7. Be sure to tune in for the Axle to duels this Thursday night. And that is going to do it here from Daytona International Speedway. So congratulations to Madison Tall and Jesse Turner for winning the front row for the Daytona 500. And that about does it here from Daytona. I'm Elijah Leonard from the Leonard Station signing out, and we'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day.